software development always something you wanted to do, or like how did you kind of decide?
No, when I graduated from high school in 1999. That's weird to say out loud. And I went to the University of Michigan, and I thought I was going to be a history major. But I'd done a little programming. My brother was an engineer, and I'd taken one class, summer class at the University of Minnesota in C. And then I went to Michigan, and I decided, like, maybe I should take this class, the Intro CS class, my first semester. And they no longer teach this class. They shut it down a couple years after I was there. It was called EECS 100. So EECS is Electrical Engineering and Computer Science. 100 is Intro. So as opposed to most normal intro classes, which now you like program in Java and like write some business app or some boring thing, this was amazing. And instead of just a normal kind of intro programming class where you just kind of build some boring apps, you instead of kind of built computer science from the ground up layer by layer, starting out with gates and ones and zero, then knowing how processors, and you designed this little processor, and then there was a simulator for that, and you wrote assembly code for that, and then you wrote a C program, and you hand compiled that C program into assembly, and then you wrote a real C program at the end of your semester. So you kind of go all the way from bits and bytes to writing like a real computer program up every single layer. And they killed it because it was too hard and too many people were failing out of it. But I loved it, and I had a knack for it. And so I fairly quickly after that decided that that's what I wanted to do. And then I guess the rest is history. After I'd done 2 internships at Microsoft, and then I went to Microsoft right after school, and I worked there for a year and a day. And I was working in their developer tools division, working on a project to port the .NET runtime and the CLR to various Unix variants. Now, this was back in the day when Linux was a viral threat to the ecosystem, or maybe even a Marxist plot to upend capitalism. So we were not allowed to work on Linux, only the other commercial Unix variants. So that technology ended up being incorporated into other stuff in Microsoft, like Silverlight, I believe. But anyway, it doesn't matter. I left. I wasn't into it at that point, and I wanted to kind of mix it up. So I actually went to study economics and Cold War history at the London School of Economics for a year. So then I went and lived in London. Thought about staying there, and but then I ended up getting back in and working at a healthcare company in Ann Arbor, where I went to school with a few friends of mine. I worked there for 2.5 years. Then I moved to Chicago, and I co-founded a company that we were going to work on kind of financial tech for hedge funds. Now, we happened to start that company about 6 months before the financial crisis. But thank heavens, because I would have been miserable in that industry and didn't have any idea what I was doing. And then it turns out my office mate at Microsoft was one of the early Facebook managers. He heard I was kind of on the open market and was like, hey, why don't you, this is actually like something special. You should come check it out. And then came here, and they had the fancy offices and the, all the accoutrement of Silicon Valley companies. Everyone's super smart and happy. And I was like, okay, this is way better than these miserable day traders I'm talking to in the finance industry in Chicago. So, and that was kind of, my journey to Facebook. So I joined Facebook when I was, like 28 years old. So I had been out and about doing some stuff up until then.